Welcome to CathyDSlaught's SRC4u Zoom call for November 10th, 2021. We're here on Cathy's website, CathyDSlaght.com, and we will scroll down, look for the Zoom banner that is right here, and we'll click through. If you'd like to be part of Cathy's group, the information is here to click through. We're going to click here. This is going to take us over to the Zoom platform. Prepare your speakers as it will be loud. 1 moment, please.
10 o'clock, my God.
Yep, we're all set. I want to show you what is interesting is we are still running from yesterday. I did go ahead and pull up a new,
Good morning.
good morning. But I want you to notice from yesterday, I think we'll finish pretty quickly, but look at that infuriating, and I can't tell you the number of calls I got yesterday, but a few from people saying, that violence was me. I was all upset about this or that. And so many of us have this kind of stress. Let's just look right here. I tested myself last night. Did anybody listen to that webinar that went out?
No, totally forgot.
I don't know that you missed anything. I did listen to it.
I didn't get my email yesterday, so I didn't get to.
Really? I know it went to the right. Isn't that strange?
Well, sometimes I think this internet saves it to the next day.
I've been having people email me that we go back and forth all the time. There should be no reason for this, but it ends up in junk mail, and that's the weirdest thing. So we just have some interesting times. You might want to look at your junk mail, because I'm real careful to make sure it goes to the new place. But look at this infuriated, and let's just see where we are as a group. It's not high. We can look at that. Oh, see, this is where I need to keep taking my brain pills. I didn't start the Gong yesterday, so let's do that. I'll get carried away. So I'm just going to leave this on today and let it go, even when this over here finishes. But I did have a brainstorm. Nobody is learning any more from this Zoom group than me, because it's always something to think about. And I wonder if anybody is receptive. It couldn't be totally anonymous initially, because you'd have to send an email. But if anybody can lay their finger on exactly what might be causing some of this stress related to infuriated and all these things, send me a note, and we could perhaps one day make a vision board just for the Zoom group, because you can do some wonderful things with images. We surely have been programmed for years with images from other sources. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you can hear that in the background. That is 528 hertz. Let me see if I can't get it off. Oh, well, never mind. Can you hear that in the background? No. Anybody? Okay, all right. So
I can hear it barely.
Okay, yeah, that is a 528 hertz that I've been playing during my work, and I just realized I'm so used to it, I forgot to turn it off. You can do a lot with these different subliminal YouTubes for the higher hertz, 369, 528, many of these, if it appeals to you.
Hey, Cathy.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, or maybe this is for Kevin, but at one point in time, he gave me a link for Grandmaster David clearing to make.
Oh.
If anybody has that link still, could I have it?
I could use it too. I don't see Kevin on today. I know he's really been slammed. If he doesn't come on, we can email him. I'll email him and send that, because we need that, don't we?
Yes, it was good. I don't know what it was, but in the electronic world, I don't know where anything is today.
Isn't that the truth? Here we've got. Well, now wait a minute.
Hey, Cathy, can we run emotional scars in the timeline?
I don't see why not.
Since it came up for the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the timeline is probably underused by a lot of us. Let's just do this.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So we've got, a few positives, a few areas of stress in here. I don't know how long this will continue, but I'm going to let the Gong have to tie a string around my finger to remind me to finish up, to always check that. But don't underestimate the power. And if anyone wants to send me anything in reference to something you'd like on a vision board, just email it and we'll play with that one day. Oh, I don't want to show names. Anyway, for today, what's interesting, let me show you the charges we wanted. And so we can go ahead and do that. Dehydration has been coming up often, and we do want to charge for that. Of course, the energy of it isn't enough. We got to drink more real water. Phlegm, thymus, throat chakra, urinary. And then when I did our scan, you can see that the Wonder Click and the charges today pretty much covered that all. And so let's look and see where we are. Some stress related to life force, heart chakra. There's the dehydration, trauma, brow chakra, phlegm, damage. So these things, the Wonder Click is basically dealing with. This is all very subtle stress that can be extremely proactive because this is our blueprint. And like we've said before, some people call this the psychic machine, because it seems to be psychic, but it's not. We tend to create what's in our own blueprint. Now, this wouldn't be a bad day to do some thymus tapping. And then this is where we can go into our Shin and Gong. For example, what are we avoiding? Years ago, I read a little article that the lady did whatever she was avoiding most before breakfast. It was a cute little article. Melodramatic. Possession. Again, that may be a spiritual thing. It could be many, many different categories. Let's put that in the Gong. Crime doesn't pay. Does that mean my job is a crime? Inflexible. And this stress, this inflexible, may be related to being programmed. Anxious, that's what our focus really is for the week. Oh, but it's a good thing. All right, let's back up. You see, there is no good or bad, because sometimes the anxiety can stimulate us to make some positive changes, even though I didn't mean to hit. It can also lower your voltage so you can't manifest. Affected. Fixation again, mindless. And you're going to see, this is kind of thought-provoking, a lot of stress related to skin is coming up today. And I think you're going to see in a minute that that again ties in with this anxiety people seem to be talking about. Sometimes I wake up grumpy, other times I let her sleep. Mindless, agitated. So a lot of this kind of stress, sadness, grim life belief system, is some of that programming. And are we starting to take that into consideration? And so in reference to skin, and especially since we didn't really, this is our charges, and the Wonder Click is actually enough today for the group. Although we will check out the Pro Tools and we see if I've done that already. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take some work with the Pro Tools. And I wanted to show you also some thoughts on skin, which from this handy dandy ailments and diseases encyclopedia. This is just, now of course he goes the other extreme entirely, but he talks about what some of the skin stress could be related to. Great store in the opinions of others and what they think of me. Let's see where we are as a group. Let's do a little de-stressing on that. Fear of being rejected or hurt. Want to join a group, etc., but poor self-esteem is a block. These are all things he's talking about that could manifest as skin stress, which then again wouldn't be a negative thing if it brings our attention to it so that we can change it.
Hi, Cathy. It's Elizabeth.
Oh, hey, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. I just wondered if at the end of our session today, you could just give a quick refresher on how to make a cocktail.
I would love to if I can do it.
Okay.
I'll do my very best, yeah.
Thank you. That's good enough for me.
Okay, suffer from lack of contact with the mother and want to blame the father. I don't know why, and maybe you all have your own thoughts on this, but it seems like a lot of people that end up in the healing arts had some real stress with their mothers. I don't know what that is about, but yeah, I see it repeatedly with the work I'm doing with people. Let's just go ahead and now, and then he gets a little bit more specific. You've got the epidermis, which relates to a difficult separation, so any stress related to that. Dermis would be related to an event seen as unclean. Then we've got self-deprecation. Now, dry skin, he's, of course, obviously lacking water, and we're talking a lot about dehydration. But along that line, both oily skin and dry skin can indicate holding in emotions. What we want to do, which might really add some benefit, would be simply to have a little bit more communication and to have joy in that communication. Flaky skin indicates following old mental patterns. That's like dandruff, etc. Pimples would be relationship problems, but he knows teenagers certainly have a little of that. There's that oily skin again. Possible intention statement. I now choose better quality in my relationships with the outside world. That could also be in your primary situation. We've got a lot of things we can do with that little primary situation right here. Let's just put that in there. And let's see what that does for our optimization. Quite a few connections there. So it looks like there is some significant stress in our communication as a group. Okay. And I went ahead and made a list. These are some of the skin-related forms of stress that he has listed in his encyclopedia. Thought it might be interesting to see where, if anywhere, we as a group, and again, all subtle at this moment in time. Okay, so we're actually starting right up here, which we can then get some information followed by itching and on down the list. And if you look, I'll look this up later and tell you tomorrow, there's actually a message here. Doesn't mean there's an actual disease, but rather an underlying stress, and we'll look that up. The book is too big and fat, but I will look that up and we'll go into that tomorrow. But meanwhile, we've got some information we didn't have before. So, as an example on how to make a cocktail. We could actually just copy the information we have today. Pull up another come on, get up there. and simply go ahead and paste that right over here. You've got it in there. Save. I have a little extra section here. You don't need that, but just put skin. And you see, we really don't seem to have a lot of skin cocktails. Save. Now I'm going to go back in and tweak this, but you get the idea.
That's great. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. And again, this needs some tweaking, but just for the heck of it, let's just look and see what comes up. And you can go in and preserve options for theme or manual. And let's just see what information comes up. That's the whole key, is the information. The processor is you. And so this, again, gives us some information.
Is that area also where you would paste an image?
Yeah, you could paste an image here. And also, there's a lot of power with pasting an image in the load image box.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's exactly right. Now, interestingly enough, let's just stop for a minute. If you paste an image, be sure to put what it's going to be. Otherwise, it won't come up with your little save. You see, this is not, it's still grayed out. So if you're going to put an image, go ahead and put it up here what it is. Let's put up, for example, now you've got your little save as cocktail. These images appear to be powerful. So there's a ton we can do. I think we've got quite a few loaded in this one. I think Kevin has all this in addition to the 72 names of God. I know maybe it's the other one. I have all the others. But you can, put your picture, put your client's picture, etc., etc. Now, we're going to do our power group today. And Ron was kind enough to send me a wonderful intention statement. We had someone else run the scan, and the person that came up is actually one of his teachers. So she's apparently had a fall, which threw off her blood pressure. And so he sent this intention. Our intention for Diana is to balance her blood pressure so that it is working at a proper level according to her proper frequency. We see her blood pressure as normal, or blood pressure at normal at all times. And I just wanted to show you one more thing that I forgot yesterday, if I can find it. Get down here. I may have to, we had one more intention statement. All right. When I'm working for myself, and I'll send it in the note today, because this is what I see happening. Applies all efforts to control the people outside control of their poverty level.
Cathy, you're hard to hear. Something's wrong with your microphone.
Really?
There we go. Now I can hear you.
That's really weird. Okay, thanks. Anyway, neutralize all efforts to control the people, including outside control of healthcare, increasing the poverty level, increase of debt, creation of a police state, outside control of food, housing, income censorship, manipulation of education, removal of God from government and education, and class warfare. That's my intention statement. And I'll put it with a note if anyone else is interested in this. But that's what I personally see when I look at some of the things happening. And this might be a little reason for a few of us to be a little infuriated. But that's each to his own on this. So
pretty good.
Well, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. And again, it's an optional thing. I'm not going to do that for the group. But whoever wants to work with it, there it is. And then we'll go in. I'm not Let's take that, go back up now. See if we have anything in the supercharger on skin. We may not. Nope. So I'll do a little scanning on the supercharger and let you know tomorrow what we end up with. Emotions. A little bit, see that relationship stress there again. Ears, Sanjiao, upper region, a lot of that tied into emotions. Inflammation, referred to as heat, which is related to the environment. Again, all items on my list. Now here, when you see these things come up, we have a pretty good removal of black magic thing in the recharger. Let's just see. Priority, which you move. Yeah, we could use that one. So let's go in here. Black magic could actually be something like 5G. It's anything interfering with our own energy. We typically, from what Grandmaster says, are doing it to ourselves. So our thoughts, calling ourselves whatever terms we choose to use, idiot, etc.
So we have internal, external frequencies or energy that are harmful to us, and we need to create a shield and scramble, scatter, whatever you want to do.
Unbelievable. Yeah, all kinds of any kind of, let's look at the supercharger. Anything like that, yes, that scramble the frequency. I know that's one of our commands. Let's just see if we have that in here. All right, so let's see if we can add it. Load. SRC4u data. Go to the, even though it's the premium 4 here. Let's see if we can just put one word in. How about scramble? All right, there we go. Scramble the frequency of all chemical, biological, and radiological pollutants of the water in my body and adjust them to the frequency. This could be appropriate considering this dehydration and skin stuff keeps coming up. Adjust them to the frequency of pure water, raise the energy of the water in my body to the highest appropriate level to accomplish my highest purpose. Sounds like a good plan. Thank you, Stephen. Let's go into
our newsletter.
I can put it in there, yeah. Plus, you have it loaded, but I will definitely put it in. And let's just go ahead and save that for the supercharger now. And I personally, you do as you like, but I like to see how long. Let me just getting paranoid about the snake on. Get that started. Negative teenager traits, all holding patterns, all that stuff. And then
I'm not sure you press start on that QiGong.
Yeah, it has to focus. So let me see. Yeah, no, it's going.
Okay, good.
Wait a minute. Yeah. But thank you. Yeah, I'll take all the reminding I can get for that. I personally like to do little test 24-hour supercharger, as that's one of the, most of these have an automatic timing, but this is one that does not. Okay, so we'll take an hour and a half on that. Light panel. Let's just go ahead and put our skin in the light panel. $10 hours. Timeline. Any suggestions for the timeline today?
The emotional scars.
Okay.
You want the number to go with it too?
No, because we're taking it out. And the numbers kind of are, you know, of course, yeah, it would be true that the number would be to help clear it, but let's just leave it with that one just to be on the safe side. Because we don't want to take it out and be correcting at the same time. Now, interestingly enough, it starts out as a low number, which sometimes is an indication maybe that's not a big deal. But if you let this run and come back, very often what you're doing is just kind of waking the energy up it takes to clear it, come back and go again, and it'll be a 125. So let's let that be. And then the issue solver, which I know at different times Kevin has talked about the power of this one. So give me some suggestions. We can start with skin, but what else?
I always like to do what's shown on the premium.
Yeah, let's look at that. Okay, acting up a little bit here. Let's do this damp and then lens.
What does damp usually refer to?
To my understanding, damp is when we have just too much the Chinese refer to that almost as a pathogen. Too much imbalance as far as the amount of liquid in the body, as the amount of moisture. Mm-hmm. That would be, but I wish Kevin were on because he's the expert. We have some good cocktails in here for that Grandmaster put together, and we had wanted a charge for that today. Let me show you. A lot of information in here. And then you can always go in. We need to do a little bit more learning on this, as it comes up often. So it's really, well, I have to go back and forth with this one a few times today. Let's see. Not really, so let's let that go, and I'll go back and forth like with these other charges today. That's a good thing for us to get more information on. And we're actually wanting to preserve our theme today. And that's it. So some of you, I guess we'll see you at 11 for our visualization for the power group. Anybody that wants to join, come on in. We're going into the Zoom like you always do. We're getting off now, going back in at 11, and it's just 10 minutes. And so, and then if you want to do any meditating on your own after that, that's great. But the power group, and even writings way before she came up with this idea, all talked about this power of 10 minutes. So that's what we're doing. So I guess that's it for today.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the group one, did you get any feedback when we did all the people at one time?
I did not. Did anybody else?
Say that again.
I was wondering when we did all the group, all those names at one time,
Yeah.
did we have any benefit? I was just curious.
Oh, no, I haven't noticed anything yet.
It's hard to say because this is so subtle. And I know I've talked with one individual who is continuing to notice improvement.
Oh,
but we're doing a couple of things. One thing is we do our group as, those of us on the call that are interested. But then also she has a small group of her friends that every night we do the 10-minute intention with the YouTube. And I think there's great power if we have people that can do that just in your own area, get together and maybe take 10 minutes at a time and help with the situation. It doesn't have to be a physical illness. It can be a financial, a relationship. It can be anything.
Yeah.
Cathy, somebody asked you earlier if you would show how to do a protocol, I think.
No, cocktail.
Cocktail, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of did that with the skin. You just take your information, paste it in, and again, we're going to tweak that one. I just did that as a quick example, but that's one reason we have so many cocktails. There's a lot of ways to add more information when we need it. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you.
Take care, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
This concludes the SRC4u Zoom call for November 10th, 2021. Thank you for attending. We look forward to seeing you again. Till then, take care and be well.